Well, good morning, everybody. It's time to depart the Circus Circus RV Park. Before I do a review on this place, I just wanted to do a recap of our late lunch that we had yesterday at China Poblano, and say that I would probably give that a 4.5, 5-star restaurant. It's in the Cosmopolitan. The service was excellent. The food was excellent. They made guacamole right at your table. It's probably the best guac I've ever had. The food was very tasty, lots of flavor. The manager ended up comping us our dessert because we weren't even going to order dessert, and she wanted to give us dessert because when we got there, Greg and I were wearing our matching shirts that I made that say I'll have the drink of the day, and they have a cruise ship on it, and I made those. They're on my Etsy shop, and I was inspired by that, by the Disney cruise, the Disney Wish that we went on. And she was asking if we had just gone on a cruise, and we explained we went on a Disney cruise last January, and we started talking Disney with her, and she spent probably 10 minutes at our table after she brought us over to it to talk about Disney with us. And she was very, very friendly, and so we had a lot in common about the Disney parks and everything, and she ended up giving us dessert for free. And even aside from that, I would have given it, a great rating even beyond that, but great service and really good food. So now let's move on to a review of this RV park. I'm going to start with a negative. There's a lot more negative than positive, but I like to end on a high note. So I think we'll start with the restroom shower facilities. So I'm going to wander over to that area and we'll talk about that briefly. So here are the restrooms. Come around this side though. And so this would be the restrooms that are on the south end of the RV park, closest to Circus Circus Casino and Hotel. There's your lovely dumpster. So here we have this situation. They're closed. Now normally I'd say not a big deal. Not gonna get too grouchy about it, but in lieu of that, you can go up to the shower facility that's up there at the main building, or there's an identical building down at the north end of the RV park, but you can't see it because of the RVs parked in the way. So that's a little bit more of a trek than this one, considering we were parked right over here on the other side of this RV here. Now I really wouldn't make a big deal out of that, but I went on TripAdvisor and looked at reviews, and somebody mentioned that the restrooms were down for repair, and this review was from 3 months ago. And you got to take into consideration that that's the person that took the time to go on TripAdvisor and make a review. A lot of people don't bother, so it could be that these bathrooms have been closed for even longer than that. I have no way of knowing, but that's kind of an inconvenience. As you can see, hopefully from this video, the RV park's not that crowded, but if there were a lot of people here, having a restroom closed and the showers, or at least the shower facilities anyway, can be kind of a hassle. So that's one flaw. Okay, now I want to talk about the hookups. There's a lot of hookups that are in disrepair, that are not working. Some of them are missing the caps. And so every once in a while, as you're walking around, you get the smell of sewer, which is not awesome. And also on TripAdvisor, I read a lot of complaints from people saying that their hookups didn't work. Fortunately, ours did, So I'm grateful for that. But that's not a great review either. You don't want people saying that the hookups don't work, because that's a hassle. You've been assigned to a certain spot, and then you get all situated, you get your slide outs out and things unpacked, and you're ready to hook up, just to find out that they don't work. So that's not awesome either. And if you look down this way, there's more that are not working. So it just seems like the whole park in general is kind of in disrepair. It doesn't seem like anybody really cares anymore. So another thing that's not working is the hot tub. You can see it's all boarded up. And so because of that reason, they have a kind of gate right there where you can't even access it, which means you're not able to use these showers over there either to rinse off before or after you get out of the pool or hot tub. So that's another issue that they're having. Now, one thing that we found that we did like was the pool. There was some people that reviewed and said it was dirty. We didn't find that to be the case. The pool was nice. It was really refreshing. No issues with it not being clean. Didn't have to share it with very many people, because when we went in on, let's see, it would have been Wednesday, we got up and came to the pool. There was hardly anybody here. So yeah, we didn't have any issues with the pool. Okay, and on a side note, if you're going to walk your dog and have them go to the potty out here, be courteous and pick up your dog poop. I almost stepped in that. So, funny story about the pool hours. It's kind of opens late and closes early, which I think is weird. But literally no one came around. And I say no one came around to check to see if anybody was in the pool after hours. We came out here at 7:45, so after the pool closed, and went swimming at night, which was very nice. They had pool lights on and there was no one else out here, so we had the pool to ourselves, and we stayed out here till 9 and didn't notice the pool hours until after we were leaving, because they're so faded and it was dark. So didn't even notice that. But nobody came around to even say, hey, you gotta get out of the pool, it's closed. No security, no employee whatsoever. So you wouldn't know it, but the other showers are located in here, because if you just look at the sign, you think it's just a restroom. But there are showers in there. And so it's a little playground right here for kids. And this is where it's at in relation to the RV park. It's right here at the entrance building. Cleanliness wise, they're okay. I would give them probably a 3. These in here didn't seem as nice as the building that I went to down on the north end. They weren't horrible, they weren't wonderful. Okay, now let's talk about the very bizarre and very inconvenient check-in progress at this place. It is not like anything I've ever seen before. They have this sign that say after hours you have to call on the phone. Well, we checked in at about 3:30 on Wednesday morning, or Wednesday afternoon, and there was nobody in this security booth. We've been here for 3 days, have never seen anybody in this security booth. So what I had to do was hop out of the RV and use the house phone that's right on the other side of this wall here, tell them I was here. I gave them all my information and our reservation information, and she gave me the code to open the gate. So you come through the gate right there once you get the code, and she said, now pull around, you'll see the main building, and you'll go in and you check in. There's a kiosk. And I thought, okay, that's kind of weird. So typically when you check into an RV park, there's staff members that greet you. It's very nice. They're welcoming. They've got maybe a gift shop and like a map and brochures and things like that. Now, this is what you're going to get when you come to the Circus Circus RV Park. Here's your kiosk that you use. There's a vending machine, And then you come over here and you can get a map. And that's if you're lucky to find one, because now there's like, they're down to two maps. So who knows if when you come, if there'll be one. Now, I've heard a lot of complaints, or read a lot of complaints, I should say, on TripAdvisor saying that sometimes these kiosks don't work. And, you know, it's just a minor inconvenience because there's nobody here to talk to. And so when you call back on the phone, guess what they tell you to do? They say, you gotta come into the hotel and go to the check-in desk inside of the Circus Circus Hotel. So you've gotta walk out the gate here, you've gotta walk down to the entrance of the parking garage down there. There's very little signage. You'll have to watch for the signs that say Adventure Dome, Circus Circus. You have to go in there and will have to traipse all the way to the hotel lobby check-in desk to get your key cards that will allow you to have access to the restrooms. And these gates, the door there, so like if you leave and you get dropped off by a taxi, you're gonna need to come back in through one of these doors right there. And then you will also need it for the pool. So very strange, very inconvenient. A lot of complaints on TripAdvisor about how there's no staff here. And FYI, this place here also where I just took you reeked of sewage the other night when I walked in. It was nasty. And so that's just a huge turn off. Also, there are no laundry facilities here. So, that's something you were planning on. You might want to make other arrangements. So now let's just talk about the couple of good things that this place has to offer, which is only a couple, like I said. Okay, the first thing is the pool. Like I said, it was nice, it was clean. Is it the best pool I've ever been to in Vegas? Hardly not. If you want to come here for pools, this RV park is not where you're going to want to go. You're going to want to stay at someplace like the MGM and use the Lazy River or Mandalay Bay or someplace like that. There's lots of hotels that have gorgeous pools. This worked though for us. I mean, for an RV park, you're usually just going to get a basic square pool or rectangular pool, and this worked just fine. It was refreshing, it was nice. And you know, we came after hours and nobody cared. Honestly, I'm not condoning this. You could come out here at midnight and no one would know. Okay, and lastly, the number one perk for coming here is obviously, or maybe not obviously to some people, I say that word a lot, so I apologize, is the proximity to the Strip. It is the only RV park that is on the Strip. That is Fontainebleau right there. Circus Circus is here. To get a taxi or rideshare, you will have to go over to the Circus Circus Hotel. The taxi dropped us off right over here on the other side of the pool, but there's nowhere to pick up from over there. There's no rideshare pickup from over there, and the taxis don't come through here to pick people up. So getting it, you're gonna have to walk over there. Yeah, there's other RV parks in Vegas that I would probably go to next time. There's one over at Sam's Town. There's the Oasis, which is on the southern end. I probably would definitely opt for that next time. And there's the Stratosphere right over there, which you have a lovely view of from the pool at night. So yeah, that was a bonus, and that was nice. So would I stay here again? The answer is no. I would rank the Circus Circus RV Park with 2 stars. And that's only because of the proximity to the Strip and a halfway decent pool. But no, it's a no-go. Now we're going to tell you, as we wrap up this video, what cost us $580 while we were here. Okay, Greg.
So we had an issue with the holding tank. Turns out the previous owner used it a couple times and then parked it for a couple years without emptying the holding tank. So that means that there was a bunch of stuff that had dried up in the second holding tank, the black water tank. We had to pay Leo with Performance RV to come out here, and he brought us this little device for back flushing the bathroom, the tanks. We had to do it like 3 times in order to get it to flow correctly. But it basically, what this does is you hook water up to it, and it fills up your tank backwards so that all the stuff that's settled on the bottom is going to be able to come out. Now we do have a secondary water connection for cleaning the black tank, but we didn't have to use it after we did the major flush.
So let's just say, let me preface this by saying this all came about on Wednesday. We'd only camped in the RV maybe 4 times, and the toilet worked just fine, but on Wednesday it started to back up. So of course it was after hours, and we called this gentleman with what's the name of it again?
Performance RV.
They're a 24-hour RV service. So just to let you know why all this came about.
His name is Leo. I want to make sure to put a shout out to Leo because he allowed me to give him $580 for service, and it was well worth it for me. So we'll just go ahead and clean it out. If you've never done this before, you can watch. This is the number 2 tank. It helps if this is the one that we had and it started leaking and we just stopped using it. So
this gray one is the one that was leaking. Okay.
This brown one we bought from him, and if you look on the end, it has a clear spout. That tells you what's coming in and going out.
Yay. Poop. More poop.
Now the number 2 tank is empty, we're closing it, and here's the number 1 tank. This is your gray water.
That wonderful noise means it's working.
It doesn't take that long, but you do want to wait till you hear it stop running. And definitely before you take this off, you want to make sure the number 1 tank is closed. Otherwise you'll end up with it in your lap. One thing I want to say, there are 2 things that you should invest in before you start doing this. 1, a pair of gloves. I choose leather gloves because it makes it easier to work on. Obviously I don't have any right now. That's why I'm making a mistake, and I'm going to bring it to a point. The second item, a stool. I do not like sitting on dirt, rocks, blacktop, anything. So a little stool, maybe the little ones that you get for working on a car, for changing brakes and stuff.
Or a kid's stool.
Or a kid's stool. Something to keep you off the ground so you don't have to scoot around on the asphalt. Maybe that's why they call it asphalt. I don't know. But you get them all closed off, and now you're going to take this out, you're going to rinse out this tube, and you're going to put it away. Hopefully it'll be drained. This one I attempted just to throw away because we don't need it anymore. But that's what it is. Thank you.
And I did buy plastic gloves, but they were these cheap things from the dollar store, and they're like you get in the restaurants, then they're made for people with giant hands, so they don't stay on your hands very well. That all being said, have you hit the subscribe button yet? Please like and subscribe. It'll help us grow our channel. We're just getting started. That's going to do it for us from Circus Circus RV Park in Las Vegas. We're going to head out of this asphalt parking lot that they're trying to tell me is an RV park. We're headed to Anaheim, California to spend a week in Disneyland.
Yay!
So please check out our videos. We're going to be having a lot of content from Disneyland. So we will see you down the road. We're golden.